The words of Lord Enki. Synopsis of the first tablet lamentation over the desolation of Sumer, how the gods fled their cities as the nuclear clouds spread, the debates in the council of the gods, the fateful decision to unleash the weapons of terror, the origin of the gods, and the awesome weapons on Nibiru's north-south wars, unification, and dynastic rules. Nibiru's place in the solar system, a dwindling atmosphere causes climate change's efforts to obtain gold to shield the atmosphere fail. Alalu, a usurper, uses nuclear weapons to stir volcanic gases. Anu, a dynastic heir, deposes Alalu. Alalu steals a spacecraft and escapes from Nibiru. The first tablet. The words of the Lord Enki, firstborn son of Anu, who reigns on Nibiru. With heavy spirit I utter laments. Laments that are bitter fill my heart. How smitten is the land, its people delivered to the evil wind, its stables abandoned, its sheepfolds emptied. How smitten are the cities, their people piled up as dead corpses, afflicted by the evil wind. How smitten are the fields, their vegetation withered, touched by the evil wind. How smitten are the rivers, nothing swims anymore. Pure sparkling waters turned into poison. Black-headed people, Sumer is emptied, gone is all life. Of its cattle and sheep Sumer is emptied, silent is the hum of churning milk. In its glorious cities, only the wind howls. Death is the only smell. The temples whose heads to heaven arose by their gods have been abandoned. Of lordship and kingship command there is none. Scepter and tiara are gone. On the banks of the two great rivers, once lush and life-giving, only weeds grow. No one treads the highways, no one seeks out the roads. Flourishing Sumer is like an abandoned desert. How smitten is the land, home of gods and men. On that land a calamity fell, one unknown to man. A calamity that mankind had never before seen, one that could not be withstood. On all the lands, from west to east, a disruptive hand of terror was placed. The gods, in their cities, were helpless as men. An evil wind, a storm born in a distant plain, a great calamity wrought in its path. A death-dealing wind born in the west its way to the east has made, its course set by fate. A storm devouring as the deluge, by wind and not by water a destroyer, by poisoned air, not tidal waves, overwhelming. By fate, not destiny, was it engendered, the great gods, in their council, the great calamity had caused. By Enlil and Ninharsag it was permitted, I alone for a halt was beseeching. Day and night to accept what the heavens decree I argued, to no avail. Ninurta, Enlil's warrior's son, and Nergal, my very own son, poison weapons in the great plain then unleashed. That an evil wind shall follow the brilliance we knew not. They now cry in agony, that the death-dealing storm, born in the west, its course to the east shall make. Who could foretell? The gods now bemoan. In their holy cities, the gods stood disbelieving as the evil wind toward Sumer made its way. One after another the gods fled their cities, their temples abandoned to the wind. In my city, Eridu, as the poisoned cloud approached, I could do nothing to stop it. Escape to the open steppe. To the people I gave instructions. With Ninki, my spouse, the city I abandoned. In his city Nippur, place of the bond heaven-earth, Enlil could do nothing to stop it. The evil wind against Nippur was onrushing. In his celestial boat, Enlil and his spouse hurriedly took off. In Sumer's city of kingship, Nanner to his father Enlil for help cried. In the place of the temple that to heaven in 7 steps rises, Nanner the hand of fate refused to heed. My father who begot me, great God who to had granted kingship, turn the evil wind away. Nanner pleaded, great God who decrees the fates, let and its people be spared, your praises to continue. Nanner appealed. Enlil answered his son Nanner, noble son, your wondrous city kingship was granted, eternal. Reign it was not granted. Take hold of your spouse Ningal, flee the city. Even I who decree fates, its destiny I cannot bend. Thus did Enlil my brother speak. Alas, alas, not a destiny it was. A calamity none greater since the deluge gods and earthlings has befallen. Alas, not a destiny it was. The great deluge was destined to happen. The great calamity of the death-dealing storm was not to be by the breach of a vow. By a council decision it was caused. By weapons of terror was it created. By a decision, not destiny, were the poisoned weapons unleashed. By deliberation was the lot cast. Against Marduk, my firstborn, did the two sons destruction direct. Vengeance was in their hearts. Ascendancy is not Marduk's to grasp. Enlil's firstborn shouted, "With weapons I shall oppose him," Ninurta said. Of people he raised an army, but Beli as earth's navel to declare. Nergal, Marduk's brother, so shouted. In the council of the great gods, words of venom were spread. Day and night I raised my opposing voice. Peace one counseled, deploring haste. For the second time the people have raised his heavenly image. Why does opposing continue? I asked in pleading. Have all the instruments been checked? Did not the era of Marduk in the heavens arrive? I once more inquired. Ninjashzida, my very son, other signs of heaven cited. His heart, I knew, Marduk's injustice to him could not forgive. Nanner, to Enlil on earth born, was unrelenting too. Marduk my temple in the north city his own abode made. So he said, Ishkur, Enlil's youngest, punishment demanded. In my lands to whore after him the people he made. He said, You too, son of Nanner, at Marduk's son Nabu his wrath directed. The place of the celestial chariots he tried to seize. Inanna, twin of Utu, was furious of all. The punishment of Marduk for the killing of her beloved Dumuzi she still demanded. Ninharsag, mother of gods and men, her gaze diverted. Why is not Marduk here? She only said. Jibal, my own son, with gloom replied. Marduk has all entreaties put aside. By the signs of heaven his supremacy he claims. Only with weapons will Marduk be stopped. Ninurta, Enlil's firstborn, shouted. Utu about protecting the place of the celestial chariots was concerned. In Marduk's hands it must not fall. So he said, Nergal, lord of the lower domain, ferociously was demanding. Let the olden weapons of terror for obliteration be used. At my own son I gazed in disbelief. For brother against brother the terror weapons have been forsworn. Instead of consent, there was silence. In the silence Enlil opened his mouth. Punishment there must be. Like birds without wings the evildoers shall be. Marduk and Nabu us of heritage are depriving. Let them of the place of the celestial chariots be deprived. Let the place be scorched to oblivion. Ninurta shouted, The one who scorches let me be. Excited, Nergal stood up and shouted, Let the evildoers' cities also be upheavaled. The sinning cities let me obliterate. Let the annihilator my name thereafter be. The earthlings, by us created, must not be harmed. The righteous with the sinners must not be perished, I forcefully said. Ninharsag, my creating helpmate, was consenting. The matter is between the gods alone to settle. The people must not be harmed. Anu, from the celestial abode, to the discussions was giving much heed. Anu, who determines fates, from his celestial abode his voice made heard. Let the weapons of terror be this once used. Let the place of the rocket ships be obliterated. Let the people be spared. Let Ninurta the scorcher be. Let Nergal be the annihilator. So did Enlil the decision announce. To them, a secret of the gods I shall reveal. The hiding place of the terror weapons to them I shall disclose. The two sons, one mine, one his, to his inner chamber Enlil summoned. Nergal, as he went by me, his gaze averted. Alas, I cried out without words. Brother has turned against brother. Are the prior times fated to repeat? A secret from the olden times to them Enlil was revealing. The weapons of terror to their hands entrusting. Clad with terror, with a brilliance they are unleashed. All they touch to a dust heap they turn. For brother against brother on earth they were forsworn, neither region to affect. Now the oath was undone, like a broken jar in useless pieces. The two sons, full of glee, with quickened step from Enlil's chamber emerged, for the weapons departing. The other gods turned back to their cities. None of his own calamity had a foreboding. Now this is the account of the prior times, and of the weapons of terror. Before the prior times was the beginning. After the prior times were the olden times. In the olden times the gods came to earth, and created the earthlings. In the prior times, none of the gods was on the earth, nor were the earthlings yet fashioned. In the prior times, the abode of the gods was on their own planet. Nibiru is its name. A great planet, reddish in radiance. Around the sun, an elongated circuit Nibiru makes. For a time in the cold is Nibiru engulfed. For part of its circuit by the sun strongly is it heated. A thick atmosphere Nibiru envelopes, by volcanic eruptions constantly fed. All manner of life this atmosphere sustains. Without it, there will be only perishing. In the cold period, the inner heat of Nibiru it keeps about the planet, like a warm coat that is constantly renewed. In the hot period, it shields Nibiru from the sun's scorching rays. In its midst rains it holds and releases, to lakes and streams giving rise. Lush vegetation our atmosphere feeds and protects. All manner of life in the waters and on the land to sprout it caused. After eons of time our own species sprouted, by our own essence an eternal seed to procreate. As our numbers grew, to many regions of Nibiru our ancestors spread. Some tilled the land, some four-legged creatures shepherded. Some lived on the mountains, some in the valleys their home made. Rivalries occurred, encroachments happened, clashes occurred, sticks became weapons. Clans gathered into tribes. Then two great nations each other faced. The nation of the north against the nation of the south took up arms. What was held by hand to thrusting missiles was turned. Weapons of thunder and brilliance increased the terror. A war, long and fierce, engulfed the planet. Brother amassed against brother. There was death and destruction both north and south. For many circuits desolation reigned the land. All life was diminished. Then a truce was declared. Then peacemaking was conducted. Let the nations be united. The emissaries said to one another, let there be one throne on Nibiru, one king to reign over all. Let a leader from north or from south by lot be chosen, one king supreme to be. If he be from north, let south choose a female to be his spouse as equal queen to reign alongside. If by lot a south male be chosen, let the north's female be his spouse. Husband and wife let them be, as one flesh to become. Let their firstborn son be the successor. Let a unified dynasty thus be formed, unity on Nibiru forever to establish. In the midst of the ruins, peace was started. North and south by marriage were united. The royal throne into one flesh combined, an unbroken line of kingship established. The first king after peace was made, a warrior of the north he was, a mighty commander. By lots, true and fair, was he chosen. His decrees in unity were accepted. For his abode he built a splendid city. Agade, unity meaning, was its name. For his reign a royal title he was granted, and it was, the celestial one was its meaning. With strong arm order in the lands he re-established, laws and regulations he decreed. Governors for each land he appointed. Restoration and reclamation was their foremost task. Of him in the royal annals. Thus it was recorded, and the lands unified. Peace on Nibiru he restored. He built a new city, the canals he repaired, food to the people he provided. There was abundance in the lands. For his spouse the south a maiden had chosen. For both love and warring she was noted. And two was her royal title. The leader who is Anne's spouse, the given name cleverly did mean. She bore in 3 sons and no daughters. The firstborn son was by her named Enki, by in a solid foundation was its meaning. Alone on the throne he was seated. A spouse to choose was twice postponed. In his reign, concubines were brought into the palace. A son to him was not born. The dynasty thus begun was by the death of Enki disrupted. On the foundation, no offspring followed. The middle son, though not the firstborn, the legal heir was pronounced. From his youth, one of 3 brothers, I.B. by his mother was lovingly called. The one in the middle his name did mean. By the royal annals and .lb he is named. In kingship celestial, by generations, the one who is Anne's son the name signified. He followed his father and on Nibiru's throne, by count, he was the 3rd to reign. The daughter of his younger brother, he chose to be his spouse. Nin.lb she was called, the Lady of Pound. A son to Anib by Ninib was born. The successor on the throne he was, the 4th by the count of kings. By the royal name and Shar, Gal he wished himself to be known. And's prince who is greatest of princes was the meaning. His spouse, a half-sister, K1. Shay, Gal was equally named. Knowledge and understanding were his chief ambition. The ways of the heavens he assiduously studied. The great circuit of Nibiru he studied, its length a shar to be he fixed. As 1 year of Nibiru was the measure, by it the royal reigns to be numbered and recorded. The shar to 10 portions he divided, 2 festivals thereby he pronounced. When nearest to the sun's quarters, a festival of the warmth was celebrated. When to its far abode Nibiru was distanced, the festival of coolness was decreed. Replacing all olden festivals of tribes and nations, to unify the people the two were established. Laws of husband and wife, of sons and daughters, by decree he established. Customs from the first tribes he proclaimed for the whole land. From the wars females greatly outnumbered males. Decrees he made, 1 male to have more than 1 female for knowing. By law, 1 wife as official spouse to be chosen, first wife to be called. By law, the firstborn son was his father's successor. By these laws, confusion soon came about. If the firstborn son not by the first wife was born, and thereafter by the first wife a son was born, by law the legal heir becoming, who shall be the successor? The one by the count of Shar's firstborn, the one by the first wife born, the firstborn son, the legal heir? Who shall inherit? Who shall succeed? In the reign of Anshargal, Kashargal as first wife was pronounced. A half-sister of the king she was. In Anshargal's reign, concubines were again brought into the palace. By the concubines, sons and daughters to the king were born. A son by one was the first to be born. The son of a concubine was the firstborn. Thereafter Kashargal bore a son. The legal heir by law he was. The firstborn he was not. In the palace Kashargal raised her voice, in anger shouting, "If by rules my son, by a first wife born, from succession shall be barred, let the double seed not be neglected. Though of different mothers, of one father the king and I are offspring. I am the king's half-sister, of me the king is half-brother. By that my son the double seed of our father Anna possesses. Let henceforth the law of the seed, the law of espousal overpower. Let henceforth a son by a half-sister, whenever born, above all other sons rise to succession." And Shargal, contemplating, the law of the seed embraced with favor. Confusion of spouse and concubines, of marriage and divorce, it would be avoided. In their council, the royal counselors the law of the seed for succession adopted. By the king's order, the scribes the decree recorded. Thus, the next king by the law of the seed for succession was proclaimed. To him the royal name Anshar was granted. 5th on the throne he was. Now this is the account of the reign of Anshar and the kings who followed. When the law was changed, the other princes were contending. Words there were, rebellion there was not. As his spouse Anshar a half-sister chose. He made her first wife, by the name Ki, Shar she was called. Thus was by this law the dynasty continued. In the reign of Anshar, the fields diminished their yields, fruits and grains lost abundance. From circuit to circuit, nearing the sun heat grew stronger. In the faraway abode, coolness was more biting. In Agade, the throned city, the king those of great understanding assembled. Learned savants, those of great knowledge, to inquire were commanded. The land and the soil they examined, the lakes and streams they put to the test. It has happened before, some gave an answer. Nibiru in the past colder or warmer has grown. A destiny it is, in the circuit of Nibiru embedded. Others of no edge, the circuit observing, Nibiru's destiny to blame did not consider. In the atmosphere a breaching occurred, that was their finding. Volcanoes, the atmosphere, forbear, less belching were spitting up. Nibiru's air has thinner been made, the protective shield has been diminished. In the reign of Anshar and Kishar, pestilence's art field made appearance. Toil could them not overcome their son in. Shar then the throne ascended, of the dynasty the 6th he was. Lordly master of the Shar the name did signify. With great understanding he was born, with much learning he mastered much knowledge. To remedy the affliction's ways he sought. Of Nibiru heavenly circuit he made much study. In its loop, of the sun's family 5 members it embraced, planets of dazzling beauty. For cures to the afflictions, their atmospheres he caused to be examined. To each he gave a name, ancestral forefathers he honored, as heavenly couples he them considered. En and Untu, the twin-like planets. He called the first two to be encountered. Beyond in Nibiru's circuit were Anshar and Kishar, in their size the largest. As a messenger Gaga among the others coursed, sometimes first Nibiru to meet. 5 in all were Nibiru's heavenly greeters as the sun it circled. Beyond, like a boundary, the hammered bracelet the sun encircled, as a guardian of the heaven's forbidden region with havoc it protected. Other children of the sun, for in number, from intrusion the bracelet shielded. The atmospheres of the 5 greeters in Shar set out to study. In its repeating circuit, the 5 in Nibiru's loop carefully were examined. What atmospheres they possessed by observation and with celestial chariots intensely were examined. The findings were astounding, the discoveries confusing. From circuit to circuit Nibiru's atmosphere more breaching suffered. In the councils of the learned, cures were avidly debated. Ways to bandage the wound were urgently considered. A new shield to embrace the planet was attempted. All that was thrust up back to the ground came down. In the councils of the learned, the belching volcanoes were studied. The atmosphere by belching volcanoes having been created, its wound by their diminished belching had come to be. Let with invention new belching be encouraged. Let volcanoes spew again. One savant's group was saying, how the feat to achieve, with what tools more belching to attain, none the king could inform. In the reign of Inshar the breach in the skies grew bigger. Rains were withheld, winds blew harder, springs from the depths did not arise. In the lands there was an accusation, the breasts of mothers were dry. In the palace there was distress, an accusation therein took hold. As his first wife, Inshar a half-sister did espouse, by the law of the seed abiding. Neen, Shar she was called Bear of the Shars the lady. A son she did not bear. By a concubine to Inshar a son was born, the firstborn son he was. By Neenshar first wife and half-sister, a son was not brought forth. By the law of succession, the concubine's son the throne ascended, the 7th to reign he was. Duru was his royal name. In the dwelling place fashioned was its meaning. In the house of concubines, not in the palace, was he indeed conceived. As his spouse a maiden from his youth beloved Duru chose, by love, not by seed, a first wife he selected. Duru was her royal name. She who is by my side was the meaning. In the royal court confusion was rampant. Sons were not heirs, wives were not half-sisters. In the land suffering was increasing. The fields forgot their abundance. Among the people fertility was diminished. In the palace fertility was absent. Neither son nor daughter was brought forth. Of An's seed 7 were the rulers. Then of his seed the throne was dry. Doru a child at the palace gateway found. As a son she embraced him. Duru in the end as a son him adopted. Legal heir him decreed. Lama, meaning dryness, was his given name. In the palace the princes were grumbling. In the council of counselors there were complaints. In the end Lama the throne ascended. Though not of An's seed, he was the 8th to reign. In the councils of the learned, to heal the Brock there were 2 suggestions. One was to use a metal, gold was its name. On Nibiru it was greatly rare. Within the hammered bracelet it was abundant. It was the only substance that to the finest powder could be ground, lofted high to heaven, suspended it could remain. Thus, with replenishments, the breach it would heal, protection make better. Let celestial boats be built, let a celestial fleet the gold to Nibiru bring over. Let weapons of terror be created, was the other suggestion, weapons that the ground shake loose, the mountains split asunder. With missiles the volcanoes to attack, their dormancy to bestir, their belching to increase, the atmosphere to replenish, the breach to make disappear. For a decision Lama was too feeble. What choice to make he knew. One circuit Nibiru completed, 2 Shars Nibiru to count continued. In the fields, affliction was net diminished. By volcanic belching the atmosphere was not repaired. A 3rd Shar passed, a 4th was counted. Gold was not obtained. In the land strife was abundant. Food and water were not abundant. In the land unity was gone. Accusations were abundant. In the royal court, savants were coming and going. Counselors were rushing in and rushing out. The king to their words paid no attention. Counsel from his spouse he only sought. Lahama was her name. If destiny it be, let us beseech the great creator of all. To the king she said. Beseeching net. Actings, provide the only hope. In the royal court, the princes were astir. At the king, accusations were directed. Foolishly, unreasoning, greater calamities instead of cure, he brought forth. From the olden storehouses, weapons were retrieved. Of rebellion, there was much speaking. A prince in the royal palace was the first to take up arms. By words of promise, the other princes he agitated. Alalu was his name. Let Larna be the king no more. He shouted. Let decision supplant hesitation. Come, let us unnerve the king in his dwelling. Let him the throne abandon. The princes to his words gave heed. The gate of the palace they rushed, to the throne room, its entrance restricted, like onrushing waters they went. To the tower of the palace the king escaped. Alalu was him pursuing. In the tower there was a struggle. Lama fell down to his death. Lama is no more. Alalu shouted. The king is no more, with glee he announced. To the throne room Alalu rushed. On the throne he himself seated. Without right or counsel, a king he himself pronounced. In the land unity was lost. Some by the death of Lama rejoiced. Others by Alalu's deed were saddened. Now this is the account of the kingship of Alalu and of the going to earth. In the land unity was lost. About the kingship many were aggrieved. In the palace princes were agitated. In the council, counselors were distraught. From father to son, succession from and on the throne continued. Even Lama, the eighth, by adoption a son was proclaimed. Who was Alalu? Was he a legal heir? Was he firstborn? By what right did he usurp? Was he not a king's slayer? Before the seven who judge Alalu was summoned, his fate to consider. Before the seven who judge, Alalu spread his pleas. Though neither legal heir nor a son firstborn, of royal seed indeed he was. Of Anshargal am I descended, before the judges he claimed. By a concubine, my ancestor was to him born, a lamb was his name. By the count of Shars, a lamb was the firstborn. The throne to him belonged. By conniving, the queen his rights put aside. A law of the seed from naught she created, for her son the kingship obtained. A larn of kingship she deprived, to her son instead it was granted. By descent, of Alarn's generations am I continued. The seed of Anshargal is within me. The seven who judged to Alalu's words gave heed. To the council of counselors they passed the matter, truth or falsehood to ascertain. The royal annals from the house of records were brought forth. With much care they were read. And unto the first royal couple were 3 sons, and no daughters to them were born. The firstborn was Enki. He died on the throne. He had no offspring. The middle son in his stead the throne ascended. Anib was his name. And Shargal was his firstborn. The throne he ascended. After him on the throne kingship by the firstborn did not continue. The law of succession by the law of the seed was supplanted. A concubine's son was the firstborn. By the law of the seed of kingship he was deprived. The kingship instead to Kashargal's son was granted. Her being a half-sister of the king was the reason. Of the concubine's son, the firstborn, the annals made no record. Of him I am descended. Alalu to the counselors cried out. By the law of succession, to him kingship belonged. By the law of succession, to kingship am I now entitled. With hesitation, the counselors of Alalu an oath of truth demanded. Alalu swore the oath of life or death. As king the council him considered. They summoned the elders, they summoned the princes. Before them the decision was pronounced. From among the princes a young prince stepped forward. About the kingship words he wished to say. Succession must be reconsidered, to the assembly he said. Though neither firstborn nor by the queen a son, of pure seed am I descended. The essence of an in me is preserved, by no concubine diluted. The counselors heard the words with amazement. The young prince to step closer they summoned. They asked for his name. It is Anu, after my forefather and am I named. They inquired about his generations. Of An's 3 sons he them reminded. Enki was the firstborn. Without son or daughter he died. Anib was the middle son. Instead of Enki the throne he ascended. Anib the daughter of his younger brother took to be wife. From them onward the succession is in the annals recorded. Who was that younger brother? A son of An and unto, one of purest seed. The counselors with wonderment looked at each other. Nibiru was his name. Anu to them announced. He was my great ancestor. His spouse Nibiru was a half-sister. Her son was firstborn. Inama was his name. His wife was a halt sister. By laws of seed and succession a son she bore him. Of pure descent the generations continued, by law and by seed perfect. Anu, after our forefatherin, did my parents name me. From the throneship we were removed. From An's pure seed we were not removed. Let Anu be king. Many counselors shouted. Let Alalu he removed. Others cautioned did counsel. Let strife be prevented. Let unity prevail. They called an AIA-1U, the discovered findings to be told. To the prince Anu, Alalu his arm in embrace offered. To Anu he thus said, though by different offsprings, of one ancestor we are both descended. Let us live in peace, together Nibiru to abundance return. Let me keep the throne, let you keep the succession. To the council words he directed, let Anu crown prince be, let him be my successor. Let his son my daughter espouse, let succession be united. Anu bowed before the council. To the assembly he thus declared, Ayalu's cupbearer I shall be, his successor in waiting. A son of mine, a daughter of his as bride shall choose. That was the council's decision. In the royal annals it was inscribed. In this manner Alalu, on the throne, remained seated. He summoned the sages, savants and commanders he consulted. For deciding, he gained much knowledge. Let celestial boats be constructed, he decided. To seek the gold in the hammered bracelet, he decided. By the hammered bracelets the boats were crushed. None of them returned. Let with weapons of terror the bowels of Nibiru be cut open. Let volcanoes again erupt. He then commanded. With weapons of terror skyborne chariots were armed. With terror missiles from the skies were volcanoes struck. The mountains swayed. The valleys shuddered as great brilliances with thunder exploded. In the land there was much rejoicing. Of abundance there were expectations. In the palace, Anu was for Alalu the cupbearer. He would bow at Alalu's feet, set the drinking cup in Alalu's hand. Alalu was the king. Anu as a servant by him was treated. In the land rejoicing receded. Rains were withheld. Winds blew harder. The belching by volcanoes did not increase. The breach in the atmosphere did not heal. In the heavens Nibiru its circuits kept coursing. From circuit to circuit heat and cold grew harder. To suffer, the people of Nibiru ceased to revere their king. Instead of relief, misery he caused. Alalu on the throne remained seated. The strong and wise Anu, foremost among the princes, was standing before him. He would bow to Alalu's feet, set the drinking cup in Alalu's hand. For 9 counted periods Alalu was king on Nibiru. In the 9th Shar, Anu gave battle to Alalu. To hand-to-hand combat, with bodies naked, Alalu he challenged. Let the winner be king, Anu said. They grappled with each other in the public square. Doorposts trembled and walls shook. Alalu bent his knee. To the ground he fell on his chest. Alalu in combat was defeated. By acclaim Anu was hailed as king. Anu to the palace was escorted. Alalu to the palace did not return. From the crowds he stealthily escaped. Of doing like Lama he was fearful. Unbeknownst to others, to the place of the celestial chariots he hurriedly went. Into a missile-throwing chariot Alalu climbed. Its hatch behind him he closed. The 4-part chamber he entered, the commander's seat he occupied. That which shows the way he lit up, with bluish aura the chamber filling. The firestones he stirred up, their hum like music was enthralling. The chariot's great cracker he enlivened, a reddish brilliance it was casting. Unbeknownst to others, in the celestial boat Alalu from Nibiru escaped. To snow-hued earth Alalu set his course. By a secret from the beginning, he chose his destination.